Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Savannah Lisa, and this morning I woke up just kind of having a heavy heart and decided I wanted to have a open conversation with you guys and just kind of be outside and cleanse the energy and honestly just help myself shift my mood. And so I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for being here and just sharing this experience and journey with me. Like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoy. I've decided I'm going to call these sessions guided messages, guided conversations, because they are kind of like conversations. They are kind of me just talking to myself. But at the same time, like, they're very guided. I feel like on my spiritual journey, like for the past 2 years, honestly, it's been a lot. However, before I start, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here watching this, everyone who's been watching, everyone who's been trying to hype me up and make me feel more confident to keep making stuff and everything. I'm so grateful for all of them. And if you're new and you want to be a part of this, all I ask is you like, share, subscribe, honestly comment, like anything. Regardless, I'm genuinely here because I want to have an open conversation with you guys and myself and my environment and just everything that I'm a part of. And so we're just gonna see how this goes. So I guess, so the best way I can start this conversation with myself, or I have to start with myself, with you guys, and with the universe, is I really just had to admit where my heart is right now, basically. The space I'm in, just this whole present being of me. I wouldn't even say right now. I would say more so just like where my heart was, like where it has been for honestly these past 2 years. And truth be told, it's a lot to unpack, but I guess that's what I'm here to do, is unpack with you guys just a little bit. The past 2 years has been a complete shift for me and just my approach. And that's honestly just a lot, just because I approach everything so differently and so dominantly, but it really shifted my perceptions, a lot of perceptions, a lot of beliefs, a lot of just core self-esteem. Honestly, like, everything has changed. I feel like everything has changed. It makes sense when you watch all these videos and people are saying like sometimes you have to sit down for 2 years, sometimes you have to sit down for 3, like, or a couple months, like, everybody's talking about this. Sometimes you have to sit down to get to the place you need to be. And that was one of the things that I feel has really morphed for me. I officially moved out here in June, the 26th of 2020, and then I got my first apartment, like my brand new apartment that was like my new space, August of 2020. And so when I first got out here, keep in mind it was a pandemic, but this also just shows like the type of person I was. I was very headstrong, I'm trying to do something, so I need to do it. Like, I've always felt like I was one of these people where I knew what I wanted to do. I know what I want to do, or, I know the type of person that I'm meant to be. And my confusion my entire life has always been just, what am I going to do to get there? And so when I moved to California, first off, kind of a disclaimer, or just kind of a pre-notion to know, I am somebody who is deeply spiritual. I've been spiritual my entire life, and that means in different forms. My grandfather raised me knowing with numerology. Both of my parents are like different sectors of a religion, and so that's why they never forced me to be into religion, but they always made sure I knew a sense of God. And so I just want to say that that's a different conversation for a different day, my spiritual journey. But I do want to just say, like, by the time I got out, like, decided to move out here, I started tapping into abilities. Like, I don't know what happened besides COVID in 2020, but 2020, something completely sparked inside of me. Anyone in my family can tell you I was always the kid at home just making random stuff and creating. And the year before that, I had finally got into like photo shoots and production and, set design and all of that. And then the pandemic hit. I was literally forced to stay in quarantine. But when I say I had a ball in quarantine, don't get me wrong, it was a mind fuck. I think it was a mind fuck for everyone. But I always tell people I think it worked for me, because before that, I was actually more so the person where I had a hard time figuring out how I was going to fit into social media or just fit into like anything that's considered mainstream, just for the simple fact that I am really cool with people. I love people. I love doing all types of things, but I am still as well very shy or reserved in my own sense. Basically, it was kind of like I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to be successful in this society due to the fact that everything was so fast paced. So you had to deal with people's personalities. You had to deal with certain situations because this is just what it is, I feel like COVID really broke down a lot of barriers in just society that I as a person actually needed. I stopped feeling so stressed and so pressured to show up for society and more so for myself. And that was probably the very big like awakening for me. It was really just more so like I genuinely felt like God slowed the world down just for me, so I can literally finally, just see who I am, see what it is that I've been itching to do. Like, why do I want to do certain things so much? And when I say I was in my room, like, some people who are watching this, they might be from my Instagram. If you've seen a lot of my Instagram during the pandemic, I was posting nonstop, editing nonstop, creating my room into different types of places nonstop. I was getting expressive nonstop. I was literally making journal entry posts. Some of them you can probably still find. It was really crazy. 2020, I flourished as a person. I feel like I was giving a break to really be able to explore myself, and I was isolated enough to really explore myself, and it was really like a big blessing in disguise. Once I got the opportunity to move, I literally spirit guided me to just jump and do it. During the time, I'm not gonna lie, everybody thought I was just being impulsive. Everybody thought I was just trying to follow a guy. Everybody believed that, every other reason but for myself, people believed for why I came out here. And it's understandable, a lot of people can only associate things with what they've seen. People don't know certain feelings to know how to associate it, and a lot of people didn't really actually know me, honestly. Like, a lot of people knew they thought I was just like this fun girl with a lot of energy, and I'm a fun girl with a lot of energy, but it's more so I'm a fun girl with passion. Excuse my cat. Neo, the public, would you like to say something to the public? He says no. He got camera shy. Expected. No, everybody had these expectations, or just, especially my family, everybody was just thinking that the reason I came out here was for every other reason but the reason I actually did come out here. And I felt like, I don't know, I got so caught up in the way I was flourishing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was used at that point. I was kind of used to being the girl that was always making stuff happen. Before the pandemic, I was setting up my own shoots all the time and moving around, meeting people, like finally getting out my shell. And so there was that. And then I got into quarantine. I finally started getting into my creativity. Yeah, I was just very fast paced moving. And so I moved out here, and I don't know what I thought was happening. It was gonna happen in my head. I mean, in my head, I thought I was gonna come out here. I had already knew like a few people. It's been easy for me to meet people because I had just got out of the Detroit scene and felt like I had all these friends and stuff like that. So I was feeling cocky, like, yeah, I can always make more friends and stuff like that. What happened was, it was still a pandemic. In California, when I moved out here, nothing was open. Vaccines weren't even like figured out whatsoever yet. It was really just like they were making one, but it wasn't even made yet. So everybody had like masks and stuff, but when I say every establishment was closed, like we could only go to the beach, and even then it was really crazy. Like, I moved out here thinking I was going to be able to still be fast paced because I had got out of Detroit, and next thing you know, the universe said, sit your ass down. And so that's what I did. It was okay at first, just because at the end of the day, like, I was never that person that was ignoring the world and what was actually going on. I understood it was a pandemic. I still didn't want to be around people and stuff like that. I was taking my own precautions, so if I was trying to make a project happen, we would still be safe. But like I said, everything was shut down, so literally universe forced me. And I don't even think people understand, like, I'm kind of still to this day, universe still has been forcing me to sit down. It really took me till today to understand why I had to sit down. If you ask, I mean, I can't say if you ask most people, because most people act like they know me, but a lot of people aren't even around enough to be able to act like that, but they still do it. What I would say is something that I feel most people would know about me from before. I had a very more masculine, dominant energy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still looked very feminine, still had the sex appeal. Like, I'm still very much, but at the same time, like, I was very direct. I was very, no, I want to do this. Like, no, I'm trying to, like, just very assertive, very direct, very, let's keep it pushing, let's make this happen. Like, why are we sitting here? Like, just very boss lady energy, basically. I still have that. That has not went away. But I realized I really, like, when it comes to, like, my passions and things, and not to say I'm passionate about everything I do, but whenever, like, I'm passionate, I really just be feeling like it needs to happen. Like, I really have to shift from being in this place where it was like, okay, no, I know where I want to be. I know this is what I want to do. I know now that I figured out a certain avenue, even though there's other avenues, even though I found out this one, now there should be nothing stopping me. I should be able to do this, keep going, and it should be done. Like a order of sequence. Universe really said fuck that, because first it was the pandemic, then by October 2020, hello my love, yeah, me and my boyfriend got into I lied, we wasn't even in an accident yet. He kicked a window. Yeah, he kicked the window trying to kill a bee, and he was on crutches and his whole leg was messed up. And so and it happened at the first of the month. Like, as soon as I was like, okay, bet, we're good, still got his money saved up, still pandemic, but we about to get stuff done. Well, girl, he was out for a whole month, so that meant I was doing all the driving. Hey baby, that meant I was doing all the driving, the cooking, the walking, the shopping, like basically full-blown caretaker, which was okay. I was okay, but it kind of was like a random setback for me. Like, I was just so used to always going so fast-paced that the way I was forced to slow down really actually started fucking with me for a minute. I don't want to get too off track, but the whole point is like the whole 2 years, I've been through a whole 2 years of just complete setbacks. But not setbacks like, oh, I mean, how do I explain this? We all have setbacks. Life, nobody's perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. We all go through these things. The difference from what I was going through compared to before was I was going through situations that was actually trying to take my life and actually like hurting my body. And I feel like it's different when you go through problems with material things, as far as like losing money or, you know, get into a car accident, you lost a wallet, you know, material things like that can be a setback, but you can always get that back. A setback you can't get back is getting into 5 car accidents within the past 2 years and coming out injured and bruised from every single one of them, to the point to where you yourself and your boyfriend has had to literally sit down because the universe is actually trying to take your body from you. I've definitely over the past 2 years have grown so much stronger over just material stuff of like, if I don't have money for a second, or, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I always kind of keep food, but if we don't have enough money or we don't have a car for transportation, 1 second, there you go, baby, there you go, you good. If I don't have time for like or I don't have like transportation or something like that, it's definitely not the end of the world. Even if I break my phone, it's not the end of the world. I will disappear gladly. I really had to teach myself to come back from was having a broken leg, you know, like coming out with minor concussions and having to really lay down, like literally, like I've probably dealt with more physical pain and physical trauma in the past 2 years than my entire life, and that's saying a lot. Basically, the point is I've been learning all these lessons, and my heart was just in this place of confusion, pain, resentment, also gratitude though, like a lot of ambition, a lot of optimism was still there. I never stopped being optimistic. Definitely had days where I just thought nothing was going to work out, but I usually keep a pretty solid heart through things. But a lot of the feelings I was feeling, after a while, when you live in a certain reality that you've been creating, certain feelings from an old reality, when they linger around, it starts to confuse you, you know? Like, you're doing so good, you're progressing, you're staying in your energy, you're working on things, you're doing what you need to do, but it's like the old things from the past still kind of like, not even just like the past, I'm talking about like when you have that shift in your life from, okay, yeah, I've been doing this, but I'm ready to do better, so let me go get this better real quick. That shift from what you're used to into what you're trying to have, that space, that distance is really crazy, because I've heard a lot, like you can hear I can't even remember. They were saying, it was Kanye West. I can't remember the song, but he was like, you can never go too far when you can't go back home again. But yeah, it was something like that. But I've been hearing a lot of stuff like that. Like when you're going to somewhere new and you following your path, like by the time you turn around, by the time you get to a place in your new life that's hard and challenging, and you think you want to turn around and go back, you realize you can't, because your mind can't even fathom a lot of, like, it can fathom, but it can't even fathom receiving or entertaining that old energy anymore. Like, it doesn't make sense. And for me, I was one of those people where I was so headstrong on trying to make something happen and trying to build a better future that it really like put me in a weird place. And I didn't know how my heart was feeling. I had a lot of doubts. I felt like maybe I was making wrong decisions. I even had a few regrets, and that was really crazy because I've never regretted things, I was always one of those people where I fall on my sword. If I make a mistake, if I do something, that's just what I did. I'll admit to it. I'll take that accountability. We can move forward or not. Like, I was that person, But now, it was just like, I don't know. I was really just still hurt about... I don't even think it was hurt. I think I was more so feeling grief. That's honestly, truly what I feel it was. My heart was just so confused because I was so stuck and I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't even the bad feelings, it was the good feelings too. And just being stuck and wanting to bring people with me, being stuck in all the things I felt in certain connections and the good parts and how happy that part made me, and hoping I could bring that same energy into this new reality of mine. And I've learned that I just couldn't. Like, I literally just couldn't. Basically, I just had to admit to myself that I was going through a grieving period of my old life. The confusion, the anger, the resentment, all of that came out during the past 2 years into this new life, all of that came from grieving what I was leaving, And it was really crazy because that was just another milestone for me, like actually being able to identify what needs to be left behind now. Like, I feel like everybody goes through these moments in their life where they feel like, something's not working, I just gotta let this go. And there are some situations where they are blatantly in your face and they are blatantly telling you, let this situation go. But at the same time, when you move on a grander scale, I'm gonna say it in that sense, when you move on a grander scale, right, and say you're thinking more so of like, okay, this is a certain life I'm trying to create, I'm trying to shift and build this, this is the type of result I want on a grand scheme, compared to, okay, I'm just trying to get this task done, or okay, for this month, I want to make this amount of money, like the more, not minor, lower, but the minor. Are you just gonna lick your butt next to me? You're being nasty and rude. Okay, stop licking your butt on camera. Sorry, I didn't lose my train of thought, but it's okay, we're back. And so basically what I'm trying to say is, when I realized me in certain situations and people actually weren't on the same energetic level, actually weren't having the same on the same page, that was the part I really started grieving. When I really started working so hard to feel a certain way, to live a certain way, to produce a certain way, and that was all I thought about. Like, I figured, I try to talk, you talk to people, you try and bring certain situations with you as you're building, because that's all you're thinking about is building. You're not thinking about how people are seeing you, you're not thinking about what people are thinking of you, because ultimately that doesn't matter. But it confused me because as I was so stuck in this building process, the closer and closer I got to living the life I wanted to live, the further and further I got away from other people. And the further and further I got away from a lot of things I thought I wanted to stay around me. And I'm not gonna lie, when those things didn't stay, I don't pressure people. I don't really cut into people anymore about staying in my lives, because I know for a fact everyone who's in my life makes sure they're a part of my life, and vice versa. So I don't really have friends anymore that need me to chase them. I don't know, it made me question the things I wanted for a while, because I wanted those things so bad. The fact that but I wanted the new stuff too. I wanted it all. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted it all. I wanted to have all my friends, all my new money, all my new situations. And yeah, I wanted to have the same habits. I wanted to feel like the same person. Like, I resented myself a lot, honestly, going through the transition. And it was really crazy. I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like that's why the past 2 years I've really just been to myself, protecting my family and my energy, because I had to really see for myself what was going on to why I couldn't mess with it no more. You know, like like just going through all the grief and acknowledging how I felt finally, and acknowledging the grief and all of that. I really had to understand what I was grieving, and I had to understand why I was grieving it. And a lot of it was just due to the fact that I had to realize I'm just not the same person. Genuinely, I can't handle things the same way. I'm very sensitive. I'm very picky. I'm even more assertive than before. I'm just not the person from before, and the problem is I can't even be the person like I was before for anybody. Like, I can't be something else for anybody anymore. And the problem that I had to go through, and why I still grieve to this day, is because I've changed so much. Well, I ain't gonna say I changed. I've evolved so much that I really couldn't go back if I tried. A lot of the things that I try to go back to, they hurt, like emotionally, physically. Talking to certain old friends, like even if we didn't fall off, I can't talk to them. I don't know. I sat back and I watched a lot. You know, I had to watch the things that made me feel certain ways. And even though I might not have known why I felt it, I had to see that first, just to see what it was. And I'm not gonna lie, I also had to teach myself how to grieve, because it's kind of the same steps as if you lose somebody. It basically is. But at the same time, think of it as like going to your own funeral. You know, most people, if you had a dream and you went to your own funeral and you stood over yourself, would you start sobbing, crying? Would you just stare out of confusion? Would you run away? Like, think about that. And because that means a lot. Me personally, I sobbed. I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. And I only did that because, I'm not gonna lie, it really was just, it took me a while to see anything for what it was, honestly. And not just on some like, oh, this person did this because they felt that and that's why. Like, no, like, the situation the universe put me in, I learned so many fucking lessons. I have to be protected at all times. If anything, that was the number one thing that I've learned. I cannot deal with any energy that does not make me feel protected in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. Physically, spiritually, and mentally. I need to feel like I'm not going to suddenly get attacked. Just because people feel away and they just want to, oh, she'll be okay. Oh, she got this. Oh, she that. You know, like, you know, the hates, I don't understand. Regardless, I can't tolerate it. I'm not even in that position. Like, you know, when we were younger and everybody was like, oh, the girl, I hate her. I'm going to give her something to hate about. Yada, yada, yada. All of that. Definitely been that girl before, but definitely not anymore. Not even close. I had to start treating friends the same way I used to treat old flings, you know? Like, yeah, I just not feeling this. I saw what you did. Think I'm gonna just cut you off now. You know, at first I used to just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna just let my friend do what they have to do. I'm gonna let them grow. I'm gonna let them be themselves. We all figuring it out. And that's always been cool. But a lot of people had to learn and figure shit out at my expense. But the whole point is, like, as I was grieving all these old energies and stuff like that, like, you have to learn, you have to grieve it differently. Like, we've had people die, we know the certain steps, but I had to learn, like, I was angry. I I've always liked myself. So when I felt like I was leaving that old part of me behind, I didn't think that old part of me was so bad. And I think that's what it was. I didn't think she was worse. I know she definitely has her flaws, and she definitely did her shit. She's done her shit. But I overall never felt like she was a bad person, because she never purposely deceived or purposely manipulated anybody. She was really always just the person that, I ain't gonna lie, basically just wanted to be in everybody's face, wanted everybody to feel safe, because I wanted to feel safe, because like I said, I like making people, I have to be protected, I have to feel safe. And that became a thing because I realized every person who I used to interact with, I used to be hell bent on making sure they felt safe, they felt protected, they felt like somebody had their back, And that was just the person I was. But when I left, and when I kind of like needed that, nobody gave that to me. Nobody tried to. Nobody like thought like, damn, Sav just moved, or Savannah Lisa just moved across the country and shit. Like, she kind of by herself. She was cool. Let me check and see how she been. No one did that. Not a single person. Yeah, so that's what was one of the main reasons of just like teaching myself how to grieve and teaching myself what to let go of. Because, like I said, it was just certain parts that I've also learned that the parts that I grieved about myself were the parts of myself that I gave more to other people anyway. The showing up, the always having something to offer, the always making them feel safe, like all of that, I never necessarily gave that to myself, because I assumed I was getting it back because that's what I was dishing out. So I never worried about getting that energy back. I just worried more so about giving it. But when a point came and I did give that stuff to myself, everybody kind of, all the things that I needed to cut off started showing themselves. It really just started showing me basically like how people's intentions really were. A lot of people only feel good about themselves when they feel like they're doing better than everyone around them. A lot of people only like feel good about, like, I don't know, a lot of people don't like having somebody around that is more confident in themselves than they are, because it shows. Nobody wants to come off as the awkward, weird person in the group. No one wants to come off as just something other than the energy I gave to a lot of people. Caused a lot of people to do a lot of like behavior towards me that tried to damage me, like damaging type behavior. Honestly, as I watched them do it and I saw it all damage them more, but it still kind of just fucked with my mental at the fact that people genuinely felt like they needed to be that person in a place to try and humble me. And that blew my mind, because I want what I want, I do what I want to do, and that can come off as arrogant, But regardless, I let everybody be themselves, Like, I was never the person that came around and made anyone feel like, oh no, you're weird for doing this, oh no, you're poor for doing this, oh no, you're this or that. Like, I've never done that, because anybody who actually was my friends, who's actually been in my home, who's actually been a part of my life, a lot of people would know the life I'm living now is a complete 180. like a complete 180. I went from being surrounded by drugs and trash everywhere, and just somebody always just popping up and being in my space. Sorry. I went from that chaotic life energy, chaotic, unorganized, sporadic, messy, like that whole life that I was inside of. And I feel like people didn't know that because I've always had this like protective energy bubble around me. I can go anywhere, and back in the day my naiveness probably is what protects me from a lot of stuff, like just being that girl that wanted to be a part of life, wanted to make people feel safe, wanted to feel safe in herself. And so there's definitely probably a lot of times where stuff was going on around me and I just had no clue. I just wasn't a part of. And that's probably why it always comes off, or maybe she always had that life. But honestly, no. I don't know. I definitely had my toxic ways. The whole point is, as I was grieving myself and realizing these people was doing these things and seeing how people might have saw me, it still blew my mind because back before 2020, and I'm going to say this publicly, every single person I was friends with before I moved out to California, I remember specifically having conversations, specifically linking up, specifically continuously talking about how we trying to come up, what we gonna do when we come up, how we just trying to be in a better place, how we trying to get past all this shit. Like, that has never been a tone, that has never not been a tone in my conversations with people before 2020. It was always just trying to get to it, just trying to make the shit happen, just making it go day by day type shit. Like a whole bunch of me just recklessly giving my energy. And that's what it was. I definitely had my toxic ways, but I feel like the problem was I was a lot more reckless back then. I was reckless with my energy. Like literally if anybody wanted to talk to me, they could talk to me. If anybody wanted to come up to me, I was that person. I'm not anymore. I built that energy in this exterior for new people that was supposed to be coming into my life, because I knew I was in a new place. I knew I was, I was building this exterior to toughen up my skin for the challenges I was about to prepare with new people. Little did I know I was actually going to be dealing with more people from my past, of just feeling away, of just like, because I don't want to talk all the time about pointless stuff, because I might not want to respond, because I just might not be in the mood to give you my energy, Probably the type to not hit me up to do anything, or never was, vice versa. And so why is it when I have new boundaries for myself and who I am, why does that bother you? Why do you feel entitled to my energy? Why do you feel entitled for me to speak to you and for me to still recklessly give you this energy as if I don't have shit going on in my life? I don't know. People really just feel entitled, and I think the problem is people want to figure it out. People want to figure out how to actually get peace, how to actually get away from it, and the only ways they've seen or know how is by people running away, by people latching on to people, by people doing all types of stuff, like just avoiding and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, no. What about the people who purposely took themselves out of a situation because they genuinely was ready to be better? What if somebody's genuinely tired of crying all the time, What if someone's genuinely tired of having no money in their pockets? Like, what do y'all think someone acts like when they are genuinely tired? That went right over everyone's head, You admit to yourself why you're feeling what you're feeling, And I will be real. Like, you can't say this person did this person did that, but no, you actually have to be real with why are you triggered though. Me personally, I've learned I'm a sensitive girl. I kind of came into this world with princess turning into queen energy. I've always felt the need to be protected. Everyone in my life has always protected me. So when I don't feel protected, red flag. But the point is, I really don't even care no more, cause pussy fat than a bitch. The point is, I had a heavy heart because of the past 2 years, and just in the past 2 years, and once I really recognized that energy, I was able to release it, and I grieved it, but I went through the process of teaching myself what it meant to grieve myself. I relearned hobbies. I retaught myself, I ain't gonna lie, things I've always wanted to do as a kid, I did now. I definitely meditated. Not the basic meditation though. I ain't gonna lie, I meditate with music and nature. I don't know, it's very important for me to have all, like, both of those elements when I'm meditating. And so I really had to teach myself who I was. But long story short, like, as I was going through that grieving period, the grieving period is what taught me how to identify what to leave behind. Because as the old me was dying, everything that used to feed her drained me. And that was what helped me kind of be like, okay, I'm not responding well to this energy that's being sent to me. And usually I could handle it, usually I can understand it, or usually I can, defeat it. I'm in a place now to where I don't even want to acknowledge the energy anymore. Honestly, by the end of it all, I had to learn to forgive myself more so. And honestly, I had to learn to forgive myself before I forgive anybody else. No, I genuinely felt like I needed to forgive myself. I couldn't get caught up in that feeling of, damn, I really fed that much to this person, damn, I really gave this much of me to that person. I couldn't be stuck in that. Once I got through the resentment, the anger, the sadness and stuff like that, I really had to be no, Sav, you're okay. You might have come off as a weak bitch to yourself, but that was only to yourself. I had to know that when I did it back then, it was okay. If I was to still be doing that shit now, it would not be okay. And once I learned those lessons, I actually genuinely started to feel like I was never safe around anyone in my old life. It was quite crazy, but I was so set in this new reality I've been creating that it didn't even matter, because that's where all the doubt, all of it came from, just who I was. All of it came from putting who I was to rest. Some of us do live 1,000 lives in one life, and it's so crazy because I've been through that moment so many times in my life to where I had to become somebody new, but it was never as extreme as this before. Before, it was just life situations. So for example, when you leaving from preschool, and then you go to elementary school, and then you go to high school, and then you go to college, basically my different lives started whenever I genuinely left a place to go somewhere else and actually embody that new environment. And I ain't gonna lie, high school happened to me twice. I ain't gonna lie, I think high school happened to me 3 times actually. I lived 3 different lives in high school. I've been through these transitions before in my life, but they were always a part of a situation that was meant to happen. Everybody leaves kindergarten to go to 1st grade. Everybody leaves 8th grade to go to high school. Everybody leaves 12th grade to do whatever the fuck they want to do, So those are all transitions where it was easy to understand letting go because we were already prepped the whole time. Like, you're gonna have to let this go. You're gonna have to go. Like, you're gonna graduate. Like, I feel like that's the only thing school really prepared. I mean, not the only, but one of the main things school really prepared me for is learning how to transition. But this one was different because this was a type of graduation mentally that I wasn't actually prepped for. Like, I didn't know when I was mentally going to get here. I didn't know how I was going to get here. I just did not know. You don't have to do or overthink a specific situation that happened to try and get an answer for a period of time that you've been through, a period of time you felt a certain way. Sometimes it was blatantly the universe wanted you to feel jealous of somebody. You needed to know what that feeling of jealousy and how to get out of that. You needed to feel that humiliation. Yes, you felt these things and you felt this humiliation, and sometimes you go back and you still feel humiliated, but don't feel bad. Don't feel humiliated no more. Don't feel responsible. Not responsible, but just forgive yourself for the way you felt and whenever you felt you were in your highest power, which is humiliation, regret, jealousy, anger. Getting too deep into those feelings, those feelings take you further away from yourself, I believe. If you get too caught up in it, like they're still human. You're supposed to definitely still feel them, but you feel them and they do take you away from spirit. It's not until you vanquish those feelings or you confront those feelings until spirit comes back to you. Because there's no room for spirit in those other feelings. All those other feelings are things that are attached to material things, material people, and those can all be replaced. And so when you get stuck in that energy to give to other people, you get stuck in that place. Now it's like, okay, I've been through this. So if someone comes to me and they feel this certain type of humiliation about something, I know I can help them because I know I've showed my ass before. And I know I've regretted just because I knew that wasn't who I was trying to be. But that's where the forgiveness part is. Like, you got through it. The point of it was to get through it. That's how you pass your test. You can spiral if you need to. I am the first girl to spiral. Yes. Because this shit don't be making sense. Last but not least, graciousness. People, it all flows. I promise you it all flows. I can basically put it down on the list for you. Admission of the heart. Releasing energy and knowing what energy needs to be released. Grieving that energy. Forgiveness. Graciousness. And those are the steps of just really genuinely healing yourself as you transition into adulthood. Growing into adulthood is hard, especially when, I ain't gonna say when, it's really just hard for everyone. I feel like it was really hard for me because I was somebody where I thought I knew everything I wanted to do. I thought I knew, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve. And I literally jumped straight off the porch, went straight to the ocean, and almost drowned about 5 times. But at the same time, I feel reborn. It's definitely important to just be acknowledge your own behavior, acknowledge the things that happened to make you start behaving in this new form. Really just complete awareness of just yourself. That's really what it is. Knowing yourself really unlocks everything. Even that path to knowing yourself, you won't realize how much you're learning about the universe as you're learning about yourself at the same time. You really don't. The universe don't let you. The universe wants you to focus on you and wants you to make it happen. So when you finally get to that point, of being like, okay, I think it's about to happen, you realize the universe been kind of creating with you, baby. Like, it's really, I don't know, it's really beautiful. Basically, being aware, being woke has nothing to do with knowing a bunch about our problems in life or being politically correct all the time or just being this bookworm. Like, that's being educated. That's being knowledgeable. Being aware, being woke has always and will only be about knowing yourself. That's it. That graciousness that's the cherry on top. You feel very thankful because you do get what you want. And I don't have everything that I want right now, but I'm so much closer than where I would be if I was to stay that girl and who she was in 2019. I would have never even realized how far away I was from things I wanted back then. Like, I didn't even know how far away I was back then. So now the fact that everything's right here is beautiful. Basically, you guys, that's my spiel for the day. And I just really hope that anybody who watched this was here with me, talking to me about this. Like, I'm just really hoping y'all connected to this in a way. Feel free to comment, have an open conversation, stuff like that. I have a lot of stuff coming, actually. This is really just an introduction. Thanks for watching my channel, you guys, and until next time.